The first time I showed my family the beach house I was 26. I had just purchased it, a 1960s mid-century modern perched on 2 acres of prime Malibu beachfront. I paid $840,000 for it, which was every dollar I'd saved working 80-hour weeks as a junior architect at a prestigious Los Angeles firm. The seller was elderly, wanted a quick sale, and I'd gotten lucky with the timing. The house was original everything: wood paneling, vintage fixtures, terrazzo floors untouched since 1967, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Pacific. The bones were incredible, but aesthetically it was a time capsule. My sister Vanessa took one look and laughed. "You paid how much for this?" $840,000. For this? She gestured at the wood-paneled walls and the turquoise kitchen cabinets. "Rachel, this is a teardown. You got scammed." Mom walked through slowly, her face pinched. "Honey, I don't understand. Why would you buy something so dated?" "The architecture is significant," I explained. "It's a documented example of mid-century coastal modernism. And the location. The location is the only thing going for it," Vanessa interrupted. "Everything inside is worthless. You'd have to gut it completely." Dad tapped one of the vintage light fixtures. "These don't even work properly. How much will renovations cost?" "I'm not renovating," I said. "I'm restoring. There's a difference." Vanessa snorted. "Sure, Rachel. Throw good money after bad. This is why you're still single. Terrible decision-making." They left after 20 minutes. Didn't stay for the sunset I was excited to show them. Didn't appreciate the original Eames chairs the seller left behind. Didn't understand that I had just purchased a piece of architectural history. That was 11 years ago. Since then, I'd meticulously restored every inch of the property, researched original materials, tracked down period-appropriate fixtures, hired specialists who understood mid-century preservation. I spent another $400,000 on the restoration alone, doing most of the project management myself while working full-time. My career rose just as steadily, junior architect to senior architect to partner at one of LA's most prestigious firms. I specialized in historic preservation and sustainable design. Won awards. Got featured in Architectural Digest twice. My projects commanded premium fees. By 37, my annual income was $340,000. My net worth, including the beach house and my investments, was around $8.2 million. My family still thought I was a struggling architect barely making rent. I never corrected them. Vanessa lived in Orange County with her husband, Derek, a pharmaceutical sales rep. Nice house in a planned community, 3 kids, a boat they used twice a year. Combined income, around $180,000. Spent every dollar maintaining their lifestyle. To them, I was the quirky sister with bad judgment. Never married, no kids, living in that beach shack they'd seen once a decade ago. They assumed I was house poor and career struggling. I let them assume. After the restoration, my beach house appraised at $5.8 million. Architecture students toured it. Design magazines featured it. I turned down 2 offers of $6.2 million. It wasn't a house. It was my masterwork. My sanctuary, my proof that beautiful things were worth preserving. And I'd protected it. A neighbor's inheritance disaster convinced me to move all my assets into an LLC structure. The beach house belonged to Coastal Preservation Holdings LLC. My name appeared nowhere publicly. Property tax bills went to my business manager. Everything ran through corporate entities. My family had no idea. For 6 months, the house sat empty while I worked on a major historic hotel renovation in San Francisco. I stayed in SF during the week, occasionally coming back to LA on weekends. I hired a property manager, Elena, to handle maintenance and security. The place was spotless, just temporarily unoccupied. Then came Vanessa's text. I was in a client meeting when my phone buzzed. During the break, I glanced down. "Vanessa, sold your beach shack for $200,000. You need the money." I stared at the screen. Read it twice. 3 times. Before I could respond, Mom chimed in on the group chat. "Mom, good decision. It's falling apart anyway. Maybe now you can afford a real place." My fingers hovered over the keyboard. A dozen responses formed. Instead I typed, "Okay." That was at 2:47 p.m. At 3:03 my phone rang. "Ms. Rivera," Elena said, voice tight. "We have a serious situation. A title company just called asking for documentation on a $200,000 sale of the Malibu property. Closing next week. My blood went cold. What sale? Someone claiming to be you signed a purchase agreement. The title company flagged it because of the LLC structure. They can't verify ownership. Who's the seller? A woman named Vanessa Morrison. She claims she's your representative and that you're overseas. My sister's married name. Elena, I said slowly, I need you to contact the title company immediately. Tell them the sale is fraudulent. Then call our real estate attorney. This is attempted theft. On it, Ms. Rivera. But, how did she even know the property details? A very good question. I hung up and called Vanessa. She answered cheerfully. Rachel, did you get my message? I know it seems fast, but Derek's friend is a realtor, and when I told him about your place, he had a buyer immediately. Cash offer, quick close. I figured you'd be relieved. How did you access the property? What do you mean? I still have the key you gave me years ago. Remember? When you first bought it and needed someone to check on it while you worked crazy hours. I did remember. I had forgotten she still had the key. Walk me through this, I said. You took a buyer through my house? Well, yeah. Derek's friend brought his client last week. I met them there, showed them around. The place is worse than I remembered. Nothing updated, weird old furniture, outdated fixtures. But the buyer loves the location and plans to tear it down. He offered $200,000 for the teardown value and land. The teardown value, I repeated. Right. I mean, I know it's not much, but given the condition and the fact you obviously can't afford to maintain it. What made you think you could sell my property? Oh, come on. I helped you. You've been struggling for years. The property taxes must be killing you. I figured I'd spare you the embarrassment of having to list it. Did you sign anything? Just the purchase agreement. We need your signature by Friday. I told them you'd be grateful. I kept my voice calm. Vanessa, you don't have the authority to sell my property. Rachel, don't be stubborn. $200,000 is good money for that place. Buy yourself a condo. Something you can actually maintain. What did you tell the buyer? The truth. That it's a 1960s fixer that hasn't been touched in decades. Original everything. Outdated. Needs total renovation or tear down. And what did you sign as? Your representative. Derek's friend said it was fine as long as we had your approval, which you're obviously giving now. I'm not approving anything. Silence. What? You've just committed several felonies. Fraud. Forgery. Attempted theft. Oh my God, Rachel, stop being dramatic. The property is worth $5.8 million. You tried to sell it for $200,000. He actually laughed. That dump? Worth $5.8 million? Are you insane? It was appraised at $5.8 million 14 months ago. Fully restored. Documented significance. Architectural Digest features. I've turned down $6.2 million offers. Dead quiet. You're lying. I'm not. And you attempted to steal a multimillion-dollar property. I'm contacting law enforcement. You can't. I was helping you. You were stealing, I said. There's a difference. I hung up. The phone rang again, Vanessa, then Mom, then Dad, then Derek. I declined every call and contacted my attorney. By 6 p.m., everything was in motion. The title company was notified. The purchase agreement was voided. The buyer, who genuinely thought he was buying a teardown lot, was furious when he learned the truth. Derek's real estate agent friend was facing license suspension for facilitating what he should have recognized as a fraudulent transaction, and my attorney had already filed a police report for attempted theft and fraud. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Family group chat exploding, voicemails piling up. I ignored all of it and focused on documenting everything for law enforcement. That night, I drove back to LA and arrived at the beach house around midnight. Elena had already arranged for a locksmith to change every lock and upgrade the security system. The house was exactly as I'd left it, perfectly restored, every detail immaculate. The vintage Noguchi lamps cast warm light across the original terrazzo floors. The Eames chairs were positioned to capture the ocean view. Floor-to-ceiling glass revealed private beach access worth millions by itself. This wasn't a shack. This was a documented masterpiece. And my sister had tried to sell it for $200,000. I slept in my own bed that night for the first time in weeks. Woke up to sunrise over the Pacific. Made coffee in my restored vintage kitchen. At 9 a.m. my attorney called. Rachel, the police want statements from everyone involved. Your sister is claiming she thought she had your permission. The buyer is threatening to sue everyone. Pause. And this is important. Your sister apparently showed the buyer a different property interior. What do you mean? The buyer described a rundown house with water damage, broken fixtures, structural issues. Nothing like your photos. She took him through at dusk, used minimal lighting, pointed out flaws she invented, and convinced him it was a teardown. So she committed fraud against the buyer too. Exactly. He's now an ally. He was defrauded as well. At 11 a.m. 2 detectives arrived to take my statement. They walked through slowly, taking in the preserved architecture, the museum-quality furnishings, the clear evidence of professional restoration. Ms. Rivera, one said, this property is extraordinary. How did your sister think she could sell this for $200,000? She thought it was worthless, I answered. She saw it once 11 years ago before restoration. He never came back. She assumed it was still a rundown shack. But she didn't see the interior when she brought the buyer? According to my attorney, she brought him at dusk, used minimal lighting, and lied about structural damage and code violations. The detectives documented everything. Photos, appraisals, ownership records. This is one of the most clear-cut fraud cases I've seen, the second detective said. Attempted theft of a $5.8 million asset. Fraudulent representation. Forged authorization. She's looking at serious charges. After they left, I finally checked my family messages. 93 unread texts. Vanessa, you're overreacting. I was trying to help. You can't press charges against your sister. We're family. Won't. Call off the police. He didn't know. You're being vindictive. Dad, just accept the $200,000 and move on. Why are you doing this to your sister? Derek, you've ruined our lives. All because you can't take help when it's offered. I read every message. Then I typed a single response. I'll address this once. Vanessa attempted to sell my property worth $5.8 million for $200,000 without my knowledge or consent. She forged documents. She defrauded a buyer. These are felonies. The legal process will continue. Do not contact me again about this. Mom immediately called. Declined. She called again. Declined. Then a text. At least tell us why you lied about the house being worthless. I never said it was worthless. You assumed. You visited once 11 years ago before restoration. You never asked about it again. Never asked about my career. Never showed interest in my life. You assumed I was struggling because that fit your narrative. Vanessa responded. You let us think you were poor. You wanted to think that. Dad chimed in. What are you, some kind of millionaire? I didn't respond. The fallout was immediate. The buyer filed a civil suit against Vanessa and Derek's real estate agent friend. The agent was suspended pending investigation. The title company flagged Derek's friend for multiple questionable transactions. And the DA formally decided to prosecute. Vanessa was charged with attempted grand theft, fraud, and forgery. Derek was investigated as a potential accomplice. My family blamed me. Mom, you're sending your sister to prison. Dad, family doesn't do this. Vanessa, I have 3 kids. How can you do this to them? Derek, you're destroying our lives. A voicemail slipped through Aunt Carol. Vanessa made a mistake. But prosecuting her? That's not the Rachel I know. Used to be sweet. Now you're cold. Maybe money changed you. Maybe that fancy house made you forget where you came from. Family matters more than property. I saved the voicemail and played it for my therapist. What do you notice? She asked. They think I'm the problem. What else? They think I changed. Did you? I think I stopped accepting their version of me, the struggling little sister who needed their pity. I never was that person. They just needed me to be. 3 weeks after the first text, the prosecutor called. Vanessa's attorney wants a meeting. They want to discuss a potential resolution. Set it up. The meeting took place at my attorney's conference room. Vanessa looked wrecked. Dark circles, messy hair, none of her usual polished presentation. Her attorney spoke. My client deeply regrets her actions and would like to apologize. Let's hear it, my attorney said. Vanessa swallowed. Her eyes were red. I'm sorry. Thought I was helping. I know now I wasn't. I was wrong to access your property, wrong to talk to a buyer, wrong to sign anything. I violated your trust. I'm sorry. Rehearsed but fine. And restitution? My attorney asked. Her attorney cleared his throat. $50,000 over 5 years. No, I said. Everyone stared. Actual damages exceed that. Legal fees alone are over $30,000. The property was encumbered by a fraudulent claim, delaying a legitimate rental worth $15,000 monthly. The emotional distress. The attempted theft of a $5.8 million asset. $50,000 over 5 years is insulting. Ms. Rivera, my client doesn't have significant liquid assets. She tried to sell my house for $200,000. She can pay the actual cost of her crime. What are you asking for? The prosecutor asked. $150,000. $3,000 monthly. Written admission of criminal conduct. 5 years probation. Zero contact. Any violation triggers prosecution. Vanessa burst into tears. I don't have $3,000 a month. We have 3 kids. You have a boat, I said calmly. Sell it. Derek snapped. You're vindictive. You tried to destroy my life, I said. You just didn't think I had a life worth destroying. Saw this in Architectural Digest. Finally understand what you built. I'm sorry we never saw you. Dad. I didn't respond. A week later, a handwritten letter from Mom. You were right. We assumed. We never asked. We wrote the story we wanted, that you were struggling. We never questioned it. I don't expect forgiveness. But I'm sorry. We missed so much of who you became. I folded the letter and put it away. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe not. 6 months later. I sat on the deck watching the sunset wash the restored mid-century lines in gold. My phone buzzed. Lena. Just declined another purchase offer. $6.8 million. Add them to the list? I smiled. Add them to the list. This house isn't for sale. Not for $6.8 million. Not for any amount. Some things you build aren't about money. They're about proving to yourself what you're capable of creating. And I had created something extraordinary. Not to prove my family wrong. Not to earn their approval. But because I knew my own worth. And that, unlike my house, was something no one could sell.